Hello and welcome to Hair in the Hawthorn. My name's Kate Ray and I'm your host. And in this mini-series that we've seen a few times over the last few weeks, we are looking at people's personal experiences. And my next guest, Andrew, is no stranger now to this mini-series. He's already talked to me about his experience of his first sort of massive encounter with paranormal activity. So if you haven't watched that one, hop back and have a look, because it proper gave me goosebumps. It was a really good story, really good story. So I've had him back and I think I might just have him on repeat, because just as we were talking before this, he's told me some other stuff that he's encountered, and I'm like, okay, then we might have just a mini series of me and Andrew going through experiences and comparing notes on them. So I didn't say in the last one, because I get far too excited about the guest that I have on. He's from Ethereal Wales, which is a paranormal investigation team, and we've just been talking about the concept of paranormal being outside the realms of just spooks and just ghosts. And he shares my ideas as well, very much, that there is a broad spectrum of things out there. So for that reason, I am going to get him back on later on in the year to talk about those aspects as well. So I really want to hear this. I'm really excited about his next personal experience that he's going to talk to us about. Hello, Andrew, and welcome back. Thanks for coming back and sharing with us.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. So the last one that you talked to us about, how we're going to up that, please let's start, because I just want to get into this. I'm super excited.
Well, this is a weird one. It's happened more recently. This was something that happened about 2.5 years ago, during my investigations of the Silver Mountain experience, which is where I run the investigations that I do. Now, up to the point where this happened, I hadn't really had anything like this happen. So to sort of give you an idea of the place, it's an old silver mine. There's lots of water around. There's wooded areas. It's in the middle of the mountains in Wales. Absolutely beautiful place, but very, very active. So, and the where it's based, it seems to sort of get all this spiritual energy from the water and the air around it. Like I think I was discussing before about elementals, which I've discussed with people before. So this whole area is active. Anyway, in the mine, there's this place which is like an old office where they used to do all the counting and the money and counting the silver and everything like that. Anyway, it's known as the Black Chasm. So the name itself sort of lends to the story. The reason it's known as the Black Chasm is because of an event that goes on there. But anyway, we had experiences of things in there and different sounds and different things. But this particular night, I went in there and I was extremely nervous. And I'm not normally nervous when I go into investigations. It's nothing, but something came across me that night. And I thought, and I felt this energy in the chasm as I walked in. Anyway, as I walked in my mind's eye, I could see this hulking great figure that was in there with us, and he was stood across the other side of the room from me. He must have been about 6.5 foot tall, very broad, and my spirit guides were warning me and saying, stay away from him, don't let him anywhere near you. So I was then trying to work with my spirit guides to keep him away from me. Anyway, we were doing little bits of experiments, as you do on an investigation. We were trying some EMF, we were trying some EVPs, we were trying all different things. Anyway, this guy was walking around the room and really trying to intimidate me the whole time we were in there. And then my friend who was there as well, she picked up on him as well. And she said, Andrew, you've got to be really careful. And I was like, I know, I'm trying to keep him away from me. Anyway, we were in a circle and we were doing what we were doing at the time. We were doing, well, we were calling out and asking for things to happen. Anyway, I all of a sudden felt him behind me, and he was stood over me. The next thing I know, I've got pressure on my shoulders, and it felt like two hands just grabbed my shoulders like that and started to push me down into the floor. And I stopped, and Kerry, who was my friend that was there, I said, Kerry, get him off me. I said, he's really, really intimidating me. And I said, he's starting to hurt me. And anyway, this pressure just went down and down and down, and my knees started to buckle. And then I started to sway forward, and the people that were around me were holding my hand to try and stop me from falling to the ground. Anyway, I pushed him off, and I managed to get him off, and told my spirit guides to get him off. Anyway, by this time I was quite weakened and quite vulnerable at this point. Anyway, he came at me again, and this time he nudged me in the back. I mean, properly punched me in the back, pushed me forward. I went forward in the circle, and I dragged about 2 or 3 people with me, and I ended up on the floor. And then the next thing I said, I was just saying to everyone in there, just get me out, get me out, get me out. Anyway, they picked me up, got me out of the room, and it lifted. It then lifted as I got out of the room. But I was so scared. I was so petrified of what had happened. And I still don't know. I still don't know why that happened that night. And I don't know why, because I don't intimidate spirits. I don't aggravate. I don't do anything like that. I'm much more respectful of people, and I'm much more respectful of the spirit world and things like that. And anyway, it scared me. It really scared me, and it was the feeling of the hands on my shoulders. That was the worst thing about it, because it literally felt like somebody had gripped my shoulder and pushed me into they were trying to push me into the floor, and my knees buckled. I've never felt anything like that in my life. It was absolutely terrifying, and I've only had one other experience of it again, and I really don't like it. It's like he was trying to attach to me as well, like, trying to take me over and do a walk-in. That's what I felt.
I know that there's a lot of people who are watching this, because there are a lot of people who are interested and are active paranormal investigators themselves in whether it be amateur or more on the professional level, if you like. Yeah. And yeah. I think that's a story that a lot of people can relate to in physical, physical interaction with spirit. And it is a terrifying thing. I mean, myself, I've been rushed a couple of times. That's the only way I can describe that.
Have you?
Where you get something running either behind you,
or
running
through you.
Straight through and kind of physically knocked me. Again, like you, I'm fairly respectful. I like to think I'm fairly respectful in those situations, but I get really angry at that, because it's like, I've respected you up to now. Don't do this. And I got to the point where when anybody on an investigation with me starts saying, and people who've come out with GPS and been in my team, been in my group, will know this. If anybody says, if there's any spirits here, can you touch one of us? And I will physically say now, not me. You stay out of my space, because this is mine. I wouldn't invite anybody at the pub, if we're down the pub, and I wouldn't say, anybody want to come over and touch me? No.
It's personal space, isn't it? And that was the worst thing about it, is that I felt that the whole of my personal space was taken up by whatever this was. It was absolutely terrifying, and it was one thing that's really scared me. I've had walk-ins, like I said, and I've had things touch me before, but that was actually physical, and it was the weight up here that was the worst thing about it. That was the worst thing about it, was the weight, because I could not. When I was trying to lift up, I couldn't move. I couldn't lift my shoulders up. I couldn't unbuckle my legs. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And every time I go in there now, I'm very aware,
very mindful of it.
Yeah, and that it might happen again.
I mean, in terms of how and why these things pick certain people out, I think that there's probably a multitude of answers and that people that can give about that. But ultimately, you know, we never know. It could be that, you know, the spirit recognized you or recognized something about you. Sometimes it can be accents that trigger, you know, spirits. It can be just general energy that trigger. It can be, you know, if you're seen as a threat. I mean, one thing that I think people think in these situations, or one thing that people ask me in these situations is, when you've had these experiences, and I, like you, have had these kind of experiences, and I get mad by it. I get really annoyed by that. And then I have to step back and think, hold on a minute, I've kind of asked for this, you know. And you kind of, you have to put it into that perspective, because this is the experiences that we're out there and we're after. But that it is that personal space thing, isn't it? That ultimately is the one. It's a no-no for me. It's a no-no.
It's something that I've tried very hard with my spirit guides to stop happening, because weirdly, the older I've got, the worse it's got. You know, so whether it's me becoming more aware of things, and whether the spirits are aware that I'm aware that they're there, you know, and maybe it's that, but it is something that I have tried to stop, because it's not the first time. It's not the first time, but that was the one that scared me the most, because of the physical interaction. I have never had anything pressure me down like that ever in my entire life, you know. And for it to be a spirit or somebody from another realm, how much power must they have to be able to do that, and where did they get that power from?
Definitely.
You know, that's what scared me. That's what scared me the most.
Andrew, thank you so much. Listen, I am going to get you back. There are so many things that are coming out of this, and again, my mind is ticking about. There was a whole raft of things that I could go off on a tangent about with you, you know, and pick out bits from just that one story. So I would love to have you back. Like I say, later on in the year. And like I said before, anybody who's experienced this kind of thing, if you've ever experienced a spirit coming into your space, if you've ever experienced actual physical interaction with a spirit, drop a comment below. Let us know, because I'm interested in this side of it as well. It's like, why spirits interact with us in this way, why they pick up on certain people. They're all great questions. So let us know your views. And I want to say a massive thank you again to Andrew for coming and sitting with me and with us, and sharing your... I know.
I think for a long time.
I know. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be great. I think we're going to bounce some ideas around, and we were literally just saying about before this, and I've got to say this because it will interplay in our longer discussion when we sit down again. We were just chatting, weren't we, about what if tomorrow somebody came up with the answers to it all and said, you know, bing, there you go, and we were both like, we'd be like, what? What do we do now? Yeah, definitely. Definitely something we'll explore on a longer interview. But for now, thank you so much for your time and sharing that experience with us.
No, you're welcome. Thank you again, Kate. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.